Hi, and welcome to another Mindset Monday. My name is Shawanda, and this week we're talking about pushing past the fear. Well, we're going to start off with a scripture from 2 Timothy 1:7. And this week we're going to read from the New King James Version. And it reads, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Well, here's the thing about fear. Question for you first is fear actually controlling your life and controlling every decision that you make, or maybe driving your decisions that you're making? If fear and fret is actually driving some of your decisions and driving basically your life or controlling your life, it is a sure sign that you are not living in the moment. Instead, you are constantly in a state to where you're unable to come up with sound solutions to help you deal with your problems, and part of not coming up with sound solutions is that you're unable to think outside the box. So you're constantly dealing with things kind of in cycles, and not good cycles. And so that means you're stuck, and that state of being stuck is causing you to stay kind of stressed out. And so we kind of want you to move from being stuck and stressed out to, again, living in a moment. Now, here are a few things that we commonly fear that control our decisions. We're going to talk about those today. And we're going to talk about how you can relate to them. And we're going to share some key points to help you push past the fear to help you to live in the moment. All right. So we have 4 key areas today. Are you ready? All right, let's jump in. 1, bills. Bills. Bills are relentless. You know, we all have them. But what are you going to do, right? You can't ignore them, because if you ignore them, they basically get worse. But you have them, and worrying about them or letting them run your life doesn't actually help you to enjoy the moment. So the key is to stop fearing the bills and come up with a solution that allows you to live in the moment. Because if you are worried about them and not coming up with an actual solution, then what's happening is the bills are actually running your life, and that's not what you want. You want to kind of get back in control of the situation. So what you want to do is create a budget for yourself and stick to it. And here's the thing, creating a budget is easy. It's the sticking to it that's actually the tough thing to do. So you have to work on sticking to what you create so that you can begin to minimize your stress. You want to do things like get rid of expenses that are not necessary. And that is going to take some self-control and some self-discipline, right? Especially if you are struggling in a lot of areas. You want to start paying off debts to family and friends first, because these are people who are actually going to be there for you. And then you also want to keep current on things like your mortgage and other loans. So sit down and create a plan. And here's the thing, if you need help, you actually need to reach out and get help. Being honest about where you are and being honest about the help you need is also going to lower your stress, because then you can actually have assistance, someone that can help you to create a budget that works for you. And not only that, but they can also help you to remain accountable for the budget that you set in place. And some people don't like the word budget, but we can just call it spending plan, whatever works for you. But whatever you need to do is what you need to do. So create the budget and or spending plan, and be accountable to that and stick to it. And if you need some help, make sure you get some help. All right. Number 2, money. Money is another thing that actually causes us stress, worry, and we're very fearful about it. Because instead of stressing about how little you have, try focusing on things that make you happy instead. So sometimes we tend to think about what we don't have instead of realizing what we do have. And I always say little things matter much. And sometimes we take the little things for granted and don't realize that the little things really are big things in our lives. So we really want to focus on what we do have rather than what we don't have. Also, you want to start pursuing work that you are passionate about, that will allow you to remain fulfilled. Because a lot of times we're doing things that we struggle with going to every day, and therefore we lose momentum and desire to be there, and therefore we want to quit, and therefore we are stressing again about money, and again we kind of get into that cycle. And so therefore you're going to have to kind of keep up your skills or figure out what you need to do in order to make the money that you need to make. So again, focus on what you have, not what you don't have. And then also start pursuing something that you love to do that is going to keep you more fulfilled. And if you don't have the skill sets to do that, then you need to work on gaining the skills that you need in order to be in the position to do what it is that you truly desire to do. So that's something that you can do to help you to stay motivated, because if not, then the wrong type of motivation is going to kind of give you the wrong choices, right? And so we don't want to do that and then kind of be, again, driven by fear. So let's watch that. Number 3, the past is something we cannot change. The past is something we absolutely cannot change. So why worry about what you did or what you didn't do, who you hurt, or who hurt you, or anything else that's in your past? Now, I get it. Things in our past are definitely important because we should learn from things in our past. But learning from things in our past doesn't mean that we are constantly in a state to where we are living in our past. So we don't want to stay so focused that we are not moving towards the future. We should allow things from our past to push us towards the future rather than holding us in a state where we cannot move forward. So allowing ourselves to learn from the things that have happened in our past so that it can propel us towards the future rather than holding us in a state to where we cannot move forward. That will allow us to focus on today rather than living in yesterday, right? Number 4, haters. People are haters. What are you going to do? Listen, successful people continue to do whatever they're going to do, and they don't pay attention to all the haters and all the hate mail that they receive. You can't. It's going to bring you down if that's what you do. People will not always like what you do, and that's just a fact. So why stress every time someone doesn't like you, or why stress when someone doesn't like a decision that you made? If you stay in the state of stressing about how people feel about you and how they feel about your decisions, then you won't actually accomplish much in life. So instead, focus on being kind. Focus on being compassionate and thoughtful, and not on the hater. So if you can focus on yourself and what you can control about you and not what you can control about someone else, that is the key. Now, these are 4 things that you can work on this week. Now, it doesn't mean that the ones that you were working on last week that you stop. We just want you to go ahead and add these on to the ones that you were working on last week, okay? And I get it. It can be tough to implement all of these at once, but you can try. And if you feel like, okay, well, I don't know if I can do all of these at the same time, well, you can kind of break them up. How about you focus on a new one every day? Or in fact, you got 7 days, so you can actually work on some of them for at least 2 days, and then maybe kind of combining some of them together because they have a commonality. So for instance, bills and money, that kind of works together. So how can you combine them 2 together to kind of work on building that habit? Either way, you want to do whatever is best for you. The key is to give them all a try and keep working on them and not to give up. The more you continue to work on them, the better you will become. And again, don't forget to connect with me online and let me know how you're doing. All right? Well, these are your tips today on how to push past fear and to help you to change your mindset. Well, I can't wait to see you next week. And I also can't wait to hear how you're doing to help you to push past how you're doing and pushing past the fear and changing your mindset. Until next week on Mindset Monday, this is Shawanda. I'll see you then. Bye for now.